Oh, do I need an attorney and a real estate agent? Interesting question. Of course, as an attorney, when you go back to the East Coast, you can't close a real estate transaction without an attorney representing you at escrow.
Right.
So it's a weird question to get out here on the West Coast of, do I need both? Because if you went to New York, Florida, New Jersey, you don't get to choose. You have to have an attorney and you have to have a real estate agent. They provide different services.
Right.
Real estate agent is responsible for the sales part and the transactional part of it. The attorney is responsible for the warranties that are going into that transaction and the liabilities. So it's a strange question to get, but out here, technically, you don't have to have both an attorney and a real estate agent. In a short sale transaction, the way things are right now, it would be imprudent and foolish to go through a short sale without both. You need the real estate agent, obviously, to list the property, unless your attorney has a real estate license, but there's very, very few that do that for good reasons. There's a lot of attorneys that own real estate companies, but they don't actually do the listings.
No.
But you do want an attorney because there are deficiencies. There's the possibility, especially if you have a second, you are most likely going to get sued by the second unless you get a waiver built in. And there's some other issues with regard to the liabilities you have for the transaction. So it's always wise to at least consult with an attorney so that you understand the risks of doing a short sale, but also to review the documents and review the approval letters.
Right, and that's what I suggest to everybody. You don't necessarily have to have the attorney going in,
right? Because
if there's upfront fees, you may not have that at the beginning. So you get the house listed, we get an offer. Once we get it negotiated and approved, then it says it right in my contract. You need to consult with an attorney, an accountant possibly.
Right.
All that stuff is good to have, but you don't have to have it to get the process started. Just get the process started if you're in trouble.
Right. And up until the point of closing, you can back out of the short sale.
As long as you've got verbiage in there, which is another key in choosing the right type of realtor. You've got to make sure that you're protected, that you have the right to back out, because it's still a contract.
That's right. That's right. So I think that kind of gives you an idea of, getting the right real estate agent is a key, because you don't want to sign a contract that's going to get you into a situation of not being able to back out, especially if the approval letter comes back without a deficiency waiver, or they're demanding contribution or a promissory note.
Absolutely.
Right. And if those situations arise and you can't commit to that, you need to have an exit plan.
Absolutely.
So getting the right agent is important. And then when all of these letters come in, you can't give them the legal advice as an agent. So when you get the approval letter and you get the promissory note, you need an attorney to sit down and go over those documents with anyone who's getting ready to do the short sale transaction.
Like I said, we're all on the same team. You just got to pick the right team to work with.
Right. So, tax consequences. All right. Yes, there are tax consequences to doing a short sale sometimes. There's a law out there called the Debt and Mortgage Forgiveness Act. It was enacted in 2007. It sunsets in 2012. I think all practitioners have every expectation it will be continued because we're not even close to flipping the housing market from the foreclosure inventory that we have right now. So I think it will continue at least until the next election.
I do too.
That's just my guess. We'll see what happens. But for now, we're all operating under the premise that if you're going to do a short sale, you better do it now, because 2012 sunset provision, what that means is the difference between what you're paying on the house currently under the terms of the note and what it goes for sale, that deficiency amount. It has two reactions after a short sale goes forward. If the bank doesn't release the liability, you could be sued for the difference of that amount. The other thing that happens is, regardless of what the bank's intent is to come after you, so even if you get a deficiency waiver, by law, the bank has to report to the IRS what the difference is between the sale of the home and what's left on the unpaid principal balance. It's called a 1099. And that 1099 reports that amount as income to the IRS. Now, here's how the tax consequences can be very detrimental. If you get this 1099, and for whatever reason, and again, I'm not a CPA, she's not a CPA, not a tax lawyer, if that difference isn't covered by the Debt Forgiveness Act for whatever reason, then you could have to pay income taxes on it. So one of the things that we always recommend is you need to go and talk to a CPA, and not a tax preparer that knows how to do basic income tax. You need to go talk to a CPA that understands real estate, because there are lots of different provisions within the tax code that the CPA can use to offset any income tax you may have, or use the Debt Forgiveness Act to cover you so you don't have the income tax. But that can be a complex analysis depending on your assets and income. So you definitely want to consult with a CPA, because if you're going to have a tax consequence, that tax consequence could put you into a situation of bankruptcy. And I can tell you, as a bankruptcy attorney, clients come to me oftentimes going, I owe the IRS $50,000 from the short sale I did 3 years ago. Can you help me? And I go, no, because I can't discharge fresh tax debt in bankruptcy.
Right.
That person in that situation would have been better off filing bankruptcy in order to dispose of the house rather than get the tax consequence. And if they still wanted to do a short sale, they can after the bankruptcy court's finished.
And what I think a lot of people forget is that this Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Act is primarily for your primary residence.
Right.
This does not apply to investors.
Correct.
So this is for people who, this is my home and this is what happened to me. So we need to keep that in mind too, which sometimes gets forgotten.
Right. And if they did a cash refi and took money out, that cash that's taken out, that's not used to improve the home, isn't going to be protected.
No.
And so there is a financial analysis that has to go into it so that you can properly make a decision on when to do the short sale and how to do the short sale, or whether you do it at all. I mean, that's something to think about. All right, we have another question. After doing a short sale, when am I eligible to buy another home? Well, we don't have a loan officer here, but
but we have an answer.
The going rate is
the going rate is technically, there are lenders out there right now that will do it for you one day after your short sale is closed and you have closed escrow. The interest rate is obviously going to be a little bit higher, and there's going to be some down payment percentage that's going to be, significant. You're not going to be able to just walk in and put a minimum amount down.
Right.
But you do have buying power again, which is another reason why I keep going back to the issue of when you establish your hardship, get that house listed, get moving, get on with your life. Hopefully you'll get another job, a better job, something, whatever your problem was will work itself out. And you do have buying power again. You're not going to be sitting there like someone who has been foreclosed on, having to wait.
Right. And I think the other thing to point out too is that just because you can't afford the home that you're in doesn't mean that you're not a suitable homeowner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So, if your house was $400,000 and you're not able to service that debt, chances are a $200,000 house, which is what they're pretty much all going for right now, it would be affordable. Right. So, sometimes in a short sale transaction too, you're able to preserve more of your credit, or at least put yourself in a situation to bounce back rather quickly.
Absolutely.
There are some hard money lenders out there that they don't really care about credit score. They're looking at income and assets. And
exactly, that's what we're seeing a lot of.
And they will definitely lend you the money. Doing a lot of investor purchase and lease back with options, so that you can rebuild your credit and become credit worthy, and then they've got a good tenant during that time period.
Who better to lease back to than the homeowner, as long as we don't have issues with the bank doing that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So there are a lot of creative options. There's a lot of creative lending that's happening here in Nevada. Getting plugged into it is really the challenge. We know it's all out there. You just have to have the right people to get in touch with some of these different lending. And even conventional lending, within a year to 3 years, you're going to be loan worthy again. FHA, VA, it's only a 2 to 3 year waiting period, and it entirely depends more so on your credit score than anything else.
Yeah, so you just start rebuilding. Yeah. That's all you do.
And there's lots of creative things you can do to rebuild it. All right, we have a few more questions. Let's see. Can you tell us what Joni's contact info is at the end of the webinar? Absolutely. Yes, the guests of the show, we'll also on our website, we'll have Joni's information on there as well, thanking her for coming in, and then a link to her website so you guys can click on it and go find out more about the short sale process. Okay, so yes, we'll give you that info. Let's see. I'm the sole owner of the home. If I short sale, can my wife buy it? Ooh, good one. Joni?
No, I'm sorry. It has to be an arm's length transaction.
Right.
You cannot have a family member, wife, children, brother, sister, parents. It's just not allowed. It's very much frowned on.
And that's across the board.
Anyone
any
across, yes. Yeah. Every lender is not allowing that.
Okay. Now, because I mean, I've had questions where people have said, not necessarily a family member, but let's say a coworker is saying, hey, I'm interested in buying an investment property. You've got your house listed for short sale. I'll buy it, and then you can be my tenant. Is that far enough distance?
It depends, again, on the lender. There are 2 or 3 lenders that I can think of off the top of my head that will make you sign an addendum that says you don't know each other.
At all?
So, at all.
Okay.
So if you're not one of those lenders, then yes, that's okay. But if it is, then no.
So would you recommend then anyone in that situation, if they're trying to find this creative way to maybe stay as a tenant or keep the house one way or another, is it best that they just honestly tell the agent up front when they come in saying, look, I need to short sell my house, we can't afford it,
right?
But we don't really want to move, here's what we're thinking. Do you recommend doing that up front?
Absolutely, I do. And again, it's going back to picking the right agent, because agents know who do this, who are very savvy with our short sales, know which lenders will allow that. And they will be able to say, okay, who's your lender? Okay, fine. That's not going to be a problem with that person to have a coworker, the neighbor down the street, whomever, that's not immediately blood related to you. If they don't know the answer to that question, then they're probably not an agent that you would want to consider, working with, because it's a very important, crucial thing. You have got to have agents that are familiar with this. You can't wait till you get into the nits and cranny of it all, and then here comes this addendum. Do you know this person?
Right.
Yes. And you're not gonna commit perjury and say, no, I don't know that person.
Right.
Because there are consequences for doing that.
Yeah, and one of the things I'll say from a legal standpoint is if you are asked to do these addendums and you are asked to certify the relationship that you're having, anything that's in that contract, if you have a waiver of that deficiency and they find out down the road that you have committed this fraud, now that not only can they come after you for any fraud claims, they can actually undo the transaction and then go after you for the warranty the waiver of the deficiency. So it's very serious to sign these documents and have them not be accurate. But does it happen? I'm sure it does. I'm sure that there are people that are willing to take the risk and the gamble and move forward with it. But there's so many other ways to dispose of the property in a way that doesn't expose you to risk. It's just better to be honest up front.
That's my policy. It's always been the best one for me, and it's why I'm still doing this business.
Yes, well, it's easy to remember the truth. Yes, because it's what really happened. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions here before we wrap up. Joni, you want to go ahead and give your contact information so that anybody listening can get a hold of you and find out more?
Yes, the easiest way to reach me is going to be my cell phone. The direct number to me is obviously area code 702-292-1851. So if you give me a call, I'll be happy to take your call and see what I can do to help you out.
All right, and we're going to put a link up on our site so that anybody can click on there, get to your website.
My website, my email, all that. But
yep, we'll put that up there. And what agency do you work with?
Executive Realty Services.
All right, terrific. So if any of you are considering short sale, it's worth at least a consult.
Absolutely.
And you'll come out, look at their house.
Look at them, do a comparative market analysis. It's all free.
Right, so they're not committing to anything.
They're not committing to anything.
And I think the other thing that's important too is to know that real estate agents, by law, cannot get paid unless the deal closes.
Absolutely not. There is no way we can charge upfront fees to come out and talk to you. Right. Anyone who's doing that is obviously somebody you don't want to be working with. But I like to come out, meet you, find out what your story is, and help you establish, do you have a legitimate hardship here? What's going on? What can we do to help you?
All right, great. Well, thank you for coming in. We
appreciate
your time.
Appreciate it.
And we do a lot of business here at our firm with regard to short sale, and Joni has really done a fantastic job for a lot of our clients. So that's a ringing endorsement. So good luck to everyone out there. Thanks for joining us for a Web Wednesday.